Now, I know it, you know it, anybody who's been making content about Gaza knows it, that TikTok is definitely suppressing views and shadow banning people. But nonetheless, I'm gonna keep talking about it. This story is pretty important. See these two people? These were Israeli hostages. Hostages that Hamas took on October 7th and that the IDF said that they were very concerned about getting back, even though they keep bombing Gaza as if the hostages are still not there. But check this shit out. The Israeli Defense Forces say that 3 Israeli hostages were mistakenly identified as threats and killed. Bro, what the fuck? There was recently an audio leaked by one of the hostages talking to Netanyahu's government, saying that while they were in the custody of Hamas, they were more afraid of getting killed by Israeli bombardment or IDF soldiers. And with good reason. The 2 hostages whose families allowed them to be publicly identified are Yotam Haim, sorry if I'm getting these wrong, and Samir Talalka. The family of the 3rd hostage asked that they not be identified publicly. The IOF keeps saying, oh, we're taking such great care. We're being very deliberate and targeted in our attacks. But you're not, though. When you are so used to and comfortable with just knocking out anything that you see that moves, it is honestly not surprising that some of those people might have been Israelis. The IOF statement reads, during combat in... I don't know how to say that, I'm not even gonna try. The IOF mistakenly identified 3 Israeli hostages as a threat. What's a threat? Moving? No, really, I want to know. What was it that made them identify them as a threat? Because these hostages are not armed. As a result, the troops moved toward them and they were killed. Israel is honestly the only country that I can think of where they can just say this was a threat with no further explanation. During searches and checks in which the incident occurred, a suspicion arose over the identities of the deceased. Their bodies were transferred to Israeli territory for examination, after which it was confirmed that they were all 3 Israeli hostages. Guys, they do this pretty regularly. I don't remember who it was, but recently there was an Israeli citizen who was putting his hands up as IDF were like pointing at him, and he threw his wallet to show that he was an Israeli citizen, and they shot him anyway. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, let me know below, because I want to remember the story and I just am blanking right now. But you notice how they wrote this. This was the best that they could come up with. This was what got reviewed by PR and then released. Oh, you know, we weren't really sure, you know, so we just shot first and asked questions later. The IOF began reviewing the incident immediately. The IOF emphasizes that this is an active combat zone in which ongoing fighting over the last few days has occurred. Yeah, no fucking shit. Immediate lessons from the event have been learned, which have been passed to all IOF troops on the field. Have they, though? How are lessons learned from it when you guys are just like, you know what's a target? Anything breathing. They expressed deep remorse over the tragic incident. I like how they call it incident. They were murdered, but the language becomes incident as if you like spilled over a glass of soda or some shit. And sends the family's heartfelt condolences. Our national mission is to locate the missing and return all the hostages home. Yeah, right. If I were hostage, I would not fucking trust them. I would not trust them. Their families have to be fucking furious. Think about how fucked up this is. These people were in captivity, in Hamas's custody for over 2 months, living, and then after being held for that long, they get killed by their own government. It really shows you that they are taking no care at all. We're supposed to believe that they're taking care to protect Palestinian civilians. You won't even try to take care to protect Israelis. It's so not fucking credible. None of it's credible. I like how people will be like, Israel's the only place where Jews can be safe. Really? I would say the United States actually is probably a more safe place for Jews than Israel is. Especially with a government that keeps on accidentally killing you.